Ben, thank you very much. Willie mentioned the ad boycott, growing pressure for the social media giant to take down hate speech on its platform, with over 300 advertisers due to boycott Facebook as part of the Stop Hate for Profit campaign. And there are now plans for the boycott to go global. Joining us now, CEO and National Director of the Anti-Defamation League and leading partner in the Facebook boycott campaign, Jonathan Greenblatt. Very good to have you on the show. We're looking at a lot of major companies, taking part in this boycott, but some of them are just a month. Isn't it going to take a lot more ad dollars not coming their way for Facebook to make changes? Because they've been promising to get better, for a long time, and they haven't really come through. They never do it in a full-throated way.
Yeah, I think you're right, Mika, and I would credit you and Joe for a long time for trying to bring attention to this issue. For 15 years, Facebook has built the largest advertising platform in the history of business. And simply put, they have failed to keep their consumers safe. The idea, as was mentioned just a moment ago, that these boogaloo groups just now are coming off the platform is nuts, and no other business would tolerate this. So when we started this campaign 2 weeks ago, keep in mind, 2 weeks ago, ADL, NAACP, Color of Change, Common Sense Media, we didn't have a single business with us, not one. 2 weeks to the day, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of small to medium-sized businesses, some of the most iconic American brands, Levi's, Coca-Cola, Starbucks, Hershey's, Kind Snacks, and a number of others, and global businesses, as you just said, they're coming on. Diageo, Acura, VW, Lego, SAP, Unilever. And I'll tell you, Mika, literally, we cannot keep up with the incoming. Our phones have, my phone has rung off the hook for the last week. CEOs, heads of advertising agencies, public relation firms, they are all frustrated. Their ads for too long have subsidized this hate. I mean, that's what you have to keep in mind. Boogaloo groups, Holocaust denialism, racist content, white supremacist content. It's the ads from like Verizon and Salesforce and Panera that have been subsidizing this content. It's absolutely outrageous, and everyone agrees it's got to change.
Hey, Jonathan, it's Willie Geist, and you've got Facebook now listening in a way that they haven't been listening before because of this ad boycott. So now that you have Facebook's attention, what exactly do you want them to do as a practical matter, and what kind of response have you received specifically from Facebook?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, the goal here was never, we didn't imagine we would put a dent in their P&L as it's a $70 billion machine. We thought we would make a point about their practices. Because indeed, the things we're talking about here aren't intended to bankrupt the company or upend the business model. They're simply improvements to the product and tweaks to their practices. So what do I mean? Take off the white supremacist, Holocaust denialism, and conspiracy theory content. There is no place for that on any mainstream media platform. They should be accountable to their advertisers. And if ads show up alongside this kind of content, they should refund the companies, point blank. They should provide services. You know, the ADL, we study hate. We monitor it. That's what we do. And our annual report of online harassment, some 28% of users report being severely harassed, but Facebook is the place where it happens more often than any other platform. If you get harassed on Facebook, the company should provide you some degree of service and support. That's just how every other business does it. And I think just two other quick points. They should simply remove the political exemption. There is no context whatsoever where it's reasonable for politicians to call for violence or for voter disinformation to be allowed, not just on election day, every day of the year. And finally, independent, third-party, regular, predictable audits whose results are published. Again, what we're talking about here is not all that hard. And in the last 48 hours, YouTube has taken steps, Reddit. It's long overdue for Facebook to do the same.
Well, and you were so right, Jonathan. Sure. Again, if you want to, just an example of how irresponsible Facebook has been and how irresponsible they continue to be, look at the fact that a federal official, law enforcement officer, was assassinated by a Boogaloo boy. And it's taken them a couple of weeks to actually clean up those sites.
Yeah.
You have, I remember getting texts from friends talking about this Plandemic movie that was clearly a conspiracy theory that was causing real health concerns for doctors who also talked to me about it, saying they are creating a conspiracy theory that are making people believe that this pandemic is nothing more than a George Soros-backed conspiracy plot. And they kept it up for months. It got more views than Taylor Swift videos, than Office reunions. But they kept it up. And even now, the President of the United States is generating lies to try to undermine our election. We know that foreign countries use Facebook first to interfere with American democracy. And they do nothing about it. So if you're Coca-Cola, like, why do you want to ever fund, which of course they're not, anti-Semitism, racism against blacks, like you said, Holocaust deniers, giving them a platform, the Boogaloo boys, giving them a platform up until now. And again, most importantly, going into this election, giving a platform to people who are trying to undermine the credibility of American democracy in this election. How could anybody go back to funding that until they clean up?
Yeah, I mean, there is simply put no business case for bigotry. There are, you know what's hard? What's hard is reaching 2.6 billion consumers, generating $18.5 billion in profits. You know what's easy? Removing white nationalists. You know what's easy? Taking down people who want to commit violence against African Americans. That, I'm sorry, isn't hard. But, Joe, there is a silver lining and a piece of good news. On Friday, as our campaign gained steam, Facebook's stock plummeted 8.25%, and it shaved off $56 billion in market valuation. Stop Hate for Profit is doing something that's never happened before. We are finally bringing Facebook to the table, and we will press and we will push and we will not stop till they agree to stuff that I think all of us agree is simply common sense.
All right. Thank you so much. CEO and National Director of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt. Great to have you on. I love watching you on Reverend Al's show, also talking about anti-Semitism. It's we greatly appreciate you getting that message out with anti-Semitism, as we know, continuing to spread everywhere from Brooklyn to Europe, as it has, unfortunately, for too long. Thank you for being with us.